Millions of you watching at home could be sitting on a fortune of unclaimed cash.
And this is an Andy Peters moment, is it? This is actually something that is already yours that you may be missing out on. Now, this evening, ITV's Tonight programme will reveal the truth behind Britain's missing pension pots and share the stories of those who tried tracking down thousands of pounds, including Tara, who had money trapped. Now, we're going to talk to her in a moment. But let's have a quick look at that.
From my reckoning, there are at least probably 10 to 11 pensions out there.
She started hunting, especially keen to find that pot she started in her teens.
So I just thought, OK, it's going to be really simple.
But to her dismay, she was unable to track down that first pot despite multiple phone calls and letters.
I thought, I've lost it. I'm never, ever going to get my hands on money that I've paid into from very, very young age. I want my money back.
Tara, who we just saw in that clip, joins us now, along with ITV's News' consumer editor, Choi, who's made the programme for tonight. And I think lots of our viewers, Tara, will be thinking both, how could you not have known there was £100,000 out there? And then they'll be thinking, well, if you didn't know, maybe I don't know, and maybe I could be like you.
Absolutely. So the pension pot in particular in question that I was trying to hunt down was something I paid into from I was about 18, 19. So...
Is this private pensions or work?
Yes.
Private pensions?
There was one private and one business pension.
Right.
So when I was 16, 17, my father sat me down and said, you know, you need to start thinking about your future because it seems a long way off. Pay into it now.
Sensible dad.
Absolutely. And so at 19, I started to pay into my private pension, which I stopped paying into when I reached mid to late 20s to go into a business pension. And then life got in the way. And you suddenly forget, because for a woman's perspective, you get married, maybe, unfortunately, you get divorced, you change
Retirement
homes.
years away.
Absolutely. And it was only when I hit my early 40s, when my mum fell ill, she was like, you need to get your ducks in a row, you need to get your finances in order. And that's where the pain points really started to kick in.
It is often a crisis which forces you to address things, doesn't it? You know, I am famously disorganised, Tara. I'm sure just from looking at you, you're more organised than me. But on a day-to-day basis, we don't think about things. It's why people don't write wills. It's why people don't do all sorts of things that they know in their heart probably they should do. But it's only when a crisis hits that you suddenly think, And, you know, I've experienced this. Derek fell very ill in March 2020. I was aware that he had some pensions. I had a small one that I knew, but I wanted to try and find out if I could do that early release to help pay for his bills. And I've sent him things that I know you've tried to do to try and find them through HMRC, you have to contact, and I've never heard.
Yes.
So it's not an easy task to track things down, is it?
No, far from it. And in my particular case, the pension that I was trying to track down at the time, because during my time there, I'd had various personal details changed, my name changed, my addresses changed, because they need a perfect match, in essence, when you phone a contact centre, which I've run for many, many years. The problem you have is if that...
So you've run a contact centre,
Large
and you
numbers.
still found it hard?
Yes, 100%. So in the end, I had to put something in that everybody's entitled to ask, which is a SARS request, a subject access request, which means that the business that holds any information on you, they have to release it, whether it be call recordings, emails, documentation, and it's only then you can start to piece together.
Although even with pensions, it could be the case, can't it, that you were saving in a pension when you were, as you say, 20 in one company.
Yeah.
By the time you get to 40, it's got a different name. It's
Completely.
been taken over. And actually, it's even... you know, it's quite hard to know where to even start to look. You know, to put that request in, you need to know who to ask.
And that was the problem. So when I originally got through to this particular pension provider of choice, because my pension policy was so old, that product didn't exist anymore. So even though my parents' product started with the same prefix number, they couldn't talk to me about it. So this all started when I was 44. I'm coming to 52 now, and I've only just got to the root cause and found out what that transfer amount is, and that was in February.
And how much is it?
Oh, I don't know, Chris, am I allowed to share
Come on,
that?
yes.
£63,500.
Wow.
That's worth finding.
Yes.
Amazing.
Goodness me. And that was just one of the things that you identified?
That's one of them.
God.
And then I found another one, which was £35,000.
Wow. So you're... That is... And let's put that into context of what that will mean to you in retirement. What sort of number of months or years would that now fund that you might have missed out on?
10 years.
Goodness me. I mean...
So it's worth looking, is the answer from your programme. I mean, if you are one of our viewers and you think to yourself, I have a vague memory of there being something which I did or a job I had, maybe a year being a temporary job, a relief teacher, whatever it was.
Well, that's a key point, I think, because a lot of people, especially in their younger years, might not have been as sensible or have your dad to take out a pension, but they would have moved around probably lots of different jobs.
Exactly.
Is there any way of tracking and tracing that?
I mean, what's your... I mean, I think I was, in the crudest sense, what's your starting point? What do you do first?
Yeah, well, you put your finger on a big problem, and it's actually a problem that's growing. Do you know the government believes, on average, we'll have 11 jobs in our working lives?
Gosh.
I mean, some people many, many more. But you can imagine that not only is your life changing, because you're moving around, changing names when you get married, divorces, all these kind of things that create disruption to your paperwork and your financial affairs. Also, remember, on the other side of the equation, the financial firms are changing. They're merging, demutualising, rebranding, changing offices. So it's really easier than you might think.
So what do you do then?
Because
let's say you had a year contract with somebody, because that's the other thing, isn't it, Tara? That, sometimes you might be almost freelance, but actually find out you did have your firm contributing. What do you do?
There is actually a government service which is meant to help you track down these pensions. Find My Pension Service. It's not as good as it should be, because all it can really do is tell you who the pension provider was for your old employer. Then it's up to you to do all the work that Tara had to put in, phoning that company. We got some great tips, including from the former pensions minister, who says the paperwork's really important, but also people are.
Yes.
Because you might have lost your paperwork, but still be in contact with some of the people from your old workplace who might be drawing their pension or who might be more organised and have the paperwork. But there is this online service, Find My Pension, run by the government. There are other free services. There's one called Gretel, like Hansel and Gretel, following the breadcrumbs, though obviously you can end up making much more than just breadcrumbs. So there are services out there. Also, once you go online to try and find a lost pension, you will find a lot of people that want your money in various ways. But there's no need to pay for that service.
I think lots of people will be thinking, though, shouldn't it be their job to find me? If they've got my money, why aren't they finding me to say, here it is, get it back?
Exactly. Welcome to the nightmare of this. I mean, huge figures involved. Maybe 3 million people have lost contact with their pensions. And get this, it's going to get a lot worse because of auto-enrolment, where people automatically get signed up to a pension without every single job. So what the government promised but has not yet delivered is something called a pensions dashboard, which would bring all this information together and make it far easier. It's overdue, and we need it.
We've been talking about that for years.
For years, and still it's years away.
That would be good. But in the meantime, try and remember all the names you've had, all the addresses you've lived, Tara, all the companies you might have worked for, and do what?
So a tip that I had is I actually pulled my CV off a very famous platform. And so when I had my paperwork, I then cross-referenced the paperwork for the pensions at the time I was in that employment. And since we filmed the programme, I found another 4 pensions because of all the reasons, Kate, you've just said, is because my job was a lot of consultancy work, short-term contracts. I've now flushed out another 4 pensions, which are another £7,000.
Tara, how much do you charge? Because I need your help. And I think I want you to devote the rest of your life to sorting out.
I will do my best for you.
Chris, it sounds like the show is a must-watch tonight.
Yeah, look, there's lots of information. And when you remember, we are talking in the context of this unforgiving cost of living crisis.
We
idea
need
that
every
people are struggling.
Absolutely.
And there's money there.
I'm just going to plug the time of your show so people can watch it. It's 8:30 tonight. Claim your cash on ITV1. Great to chat to both of you. Thank you.